Trying to see. Look.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, right back to you.
Howdy.
No, I clicked the unmute button.
Evening.
Good evening, Mr. John Brown.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
We're doing fine. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Yep, I'm doing well.
That's good. You've been turning?
Yes, I have been.
You gonna show us something tonight?
Uh, I hadn't really thought about it. I've been so busy getting
Uh-huh.
some things moved out of my old house into my apartment
Oh, okay.
here and all that. But I do a little turning when I can get to it because I've got two charitable organizations that I'm making ornaments for, and I want to get started on making pens for the send to the troops overseas. So I have
Good
been
for you.
rather busy.
Good for you. I see we got our demonstrator tonight. Trey's in the house. He's gonna be showing us something that's pretty exciting tonight. So
We're gonna do tin bending tonight or what?
we're gonna do what?
I call it tin bending.
I believe that's what's going on. Well, we'll have to hear it from Trey, but anything that Trey does, he really keeps you involved in it, and he does a real good demo, you know.
The answer is yes. I'm gonna do the metal bending.
Good. We'll all learn tonight.
He's gonna do some roofing.
Roofing. That sounds cool. I've asked Eddie not to record this, so not to post it on the web. But if anybody wants to see it later or something, just give me a call, a shout, and I'll be glad to show it or talk to anybody through it. So.
Yeah, Eddie and I has already discussed that, and we were going to bring that up at the beginning. What Trey is saying is, I don't think you're going to be allowed to, but because Eddie's going to have it turned off, don't try to record what Trey is doing. This is his personal video, and he'd like to keep it that way, so we can enjoy it. Just don't try to record it.
Hey, Ronnie, is my video coming through?
Yeah, Dane, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you, Dane.
Okay. Right on.
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Getting absolutely nothing accomplished except for sanding this cut up. Other than that, that's...
What is everybody seeing on their screen right now?
Oh, right now I'm looking
Soon
at
bottle stopper challenge.
Coming soon.
coming soon. Welcome, Dave, Safety Director.
All right, that's the same thing I'm seeing. When Eddie comes on, he'll have to click
There's
on
a
a
welcome.
I was wondering if that was just me or if that was what everybody was saying.
I think we're all getting that right now.
Yeah.
Just
Getting
kind
a
of,
split screen.
What kind of what?
I'm getting a split screen.
Yeah, right.
Okay, with what you're seeing on the left and picture of everybody on the right.
Correct.
Okay.
It's kind of a little bit different, I guess, because he hasn't officially come on and opened it up yet. So he
Yeah.
ought to be coming on in a few minutes. He's still recovering from his operation, so I might be filling in a little bit for him tonight as we go to give him a little break. So
That's no problem.
it might be a
That's no
little
problem.
different tonight.
The amount of hurricanes that Eddie's been getting, I'm glad he ain't rowing a boat.
Oh, I swear. And then it looks like there's another one out in the Atlantic, huh?
Yeah, there's one coming up South Carolina area, I believe. I think I seen it earlier this week.
Yeah, but it's way off.
I was saying that earlier. When are we gonna be finished with these things for the year? You know, we got till, well, we got till the end of November.
I think so. It just, this year's been so screwy everywhere. Weather, everything.
I tell you what, I believe 2020 is gonna go down in the books like one that we've never experienced.
I wish I would never experience that one.
Yeah. Let's hope 2021 is brighter.
Yeah, I definitely hope so.
Let's hope we can. put
Yeah,
all-
I got a feeling 2021 may be coming in and going, hey, 2020, hold my beer.
Yeah. That's
You
the
know,
sad
80,
part.
you know, 80% of all accidents start with that too.
At the beginning of the year, that'll probably be what we experience, but let's hope shortly after, maybe after the first quarter or something. Let's
hope
hope
so.
we can kind of maybe get something back to normal. Huh?
Yeah. Anyway, to change the subject, a quick question. I've been using like straight shellac as a finish on pens and small spindle turnings. Is that going to be all right? I know it's an old finish. Does anybody else use the straight shellac?
Shellac is a good finish. I think most people, and they can chime in anytime they want to. You always want to kind of cut your shellac. I've always cut it 50-50.
Okay.
So it would go down deeper into the wood. That
Okay.
that being said, shellac is a nice finish, but I find it's not a permanent finish. You know,
Yeah,
it will-
shellac doesn't hold up very well to body fluids when you're using it on pens. It breaks down a pen pretty quickly.
Okay, thank you. Because I've
Yeah, it
turned
doesn't-
a couple pieces, bowls and whatnot a year or two ago for the missus, and I use Shine Juice. And within like 2 months, it looks like I never touched them.
Same thing with Shine Juice.
Most of it will fade unless you use,
Okay.
if you want it permanent, use CA, but the rest of it's going to fade a little bit. And even sunlight sometimes will make it yellow.
Okay, thank you for the heads up.
Yeah,
And
shellac.
CA, I'm having problems with. Seems like my eyes are starting to burn too often.
Tell you,
I
the
don't get
truth,
my
I
fingers
am sold on CA right now. You know, the way that CA that I've been using is easy. Well, looks like he just opened it up, fellas.
Oh, you did? No, I got you in a full screen.
Yeah, I didn't.
I haven't used a CA finish in years because a guy with I sold a Cherry Burl pen to a fellow once about 15 years ago, and 3 months later he brought it back to me. I had a CA finish on his beautiful pen, and his body chemistry had turned it gray and worn all of the CA off of it. I had to take it apart, sand it back down, refinish it. I put lacquer on it. I saw he sent me a picture of the pen 3 years ago. It still looks like the day I gave it to him.
Oh yeah, lacquer holds up better than CA, huh?
It
Well-
has for me.
Okay, we'll keep
Well,
that in
let me-
mind.
A lot of that
Let me
depends on what kind of.
put something in on that. It depends what CA you're using. I'm a strong believer. It's Parfix 3408.
Yep.
And the reason that it's that I'm so strong on it, the viscosity, the normal thin viscosity of a CA, the number is around 100. This 3408 Parfix, the viscosity is number 5. So if you're going from 100 to 5, that CA is going to go deeper into the wood, and you're not going to wear it out because you would have to wear the wood out as you went down. And I tell you what, I've been using that, and it's the easiest thing that you would ever use. It's one coat that takes you 2 minutes to put on, and then you just buff it and wax it, and you don't do anything else to it. I hear
I'll have to look into that.
they spend a whole bunch of time putting sealer on. They putting different finishes, 8, 10, 12 coats here and there. I'm telling you, this is one coat, and you sit back and you say, I won't use anything else,
Hey, Ronnie, where do you get that?
Okay, there's a few people that have it. One person that attends our meetings every week is Mark Soleil. If you look up Mark Soleil at his website, give him a call. He'll be glad to sell it to you. A lot of times, your turning clubs will take it in and resell it to their members.
Yeah, my turning club is reselling it also. Have you tried the Starbond EM04, which is also the super thin?
No, I haven't. I'm sold on this Parfix, and now when we're talking about CAs, also you have to talk about the accelerator. If you use the wrong accelerator, you're gonna make that CA what I call bloom. It's gonna mushroom on you. This 3408 that I'm using, and I always tell people about, the accelerator for that is number 1144. And Mark has that also. So
Does the CA have the same, does your Parfix have the same fumes as the CA does?
No, there are no fumes.
Are no fumes with Parfix?
No.
Great.
well, now let's say you can't say Parfix in general. We're talking about the 3408.
Right.
Yeah, what you've been
There's
talking
no
about.
odor, and there's a longer working time.
Okay.
When you're talking about a CA glue, some of them they start blooming or putting off in about 10 seconds. The 3408, I think you have about anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds.
Great,
So
great. Thanks for the heads up.
What about not using an accelerator at all? Can you just let
You
it
don't
go?
have to use an accelerator. It'll just take longer. Like I said, it'll take about 45 seconds before it starts to bloom. So
Matt, I'm in a group.
There it
that,
is.
there he is.
Matt, I'm in a group that says I'm not that much of a hurry. I don't like shooting the accelerator on. I believe a finish should be a finish. And if you take your time and make it right, not perfect, but right, it'll last longer.
That makes a lot of sense, Captain Eddie. I don't use accelerator either. I use CA glue sometimes as a finish, and I don't use accelerator. So I was just curious about what people, use it or not. So that makes a lot of sense.
And I do use that Starbond, the one you gave me. I got some from Paul last year, and that stuff is like 1/4 the thickness of water.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like to put coriander together, just put the two pieces together, clamp them, and then drizzle it across the top. It'll be glued all the way through. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I use when I'm doing inlays. I use super fine brass powder and aluminum powder on inlays. And, I would burn something and then inlay it. I don't have anything here, but, and then I use that super fine stuff and it wicks into the powder and seriously bonds to the wood and so on. I really like it.
You get spoiled by this stuff. I have, unfortunately, I'm seeing doctors every single day, or they come to the house every day. And the other day we were talking about this wound on my neck, and some things are, but the girl said, well, that was glued. And I said, probably with Paraflex. And I threw that number out there, Ronnie. And this girl was shocked. She said, "You know about that?" I says, "Yeah, I got a friend of mine that uses it to coat turn pieces." I mean, I could have blown her over. Just she said, "Parafex," And then I had to quickly say, "You got anything with you?"
I tell you what, I use that stuff on everything, anything that I can, I use it. And as we speak, Captain Eddie is not completely sold on it. And as soon as he gets well enough and we can start visiting again, I'm gonna get him over here, and then you're gonna hear a totally different response out of him. Because after this 3408, you don't want to look at anything else. I'm telling you, it is too easy.
Ronnie, why don't you put that information on the chat so that I could copy that down, please?
There you go, John. That's what it's for.
I sure will.
Thank you.
Same thing with where to buy the product. We talked about Mark, who's a good friend of ours and a great turner. If he's awake, he'll be with us. Get in trouble with him. But if you have details like this, put it in the chat, please. As much detail as you can. Our buddy Kim does that a lot. While we're talking, she'll research something and poof, pop it right back up on a chat. That is your encyclopedia when we're all done. And I got to mention, we have our IT director in with us tonight. We're expanding how we're distributing or exposing our videos and chat and all that. I'm sorry. He's now created another website or another YouTube channel that he puts these things on. So if you subscribe to that channel, and remember, these things don't cost anything to subscribe to. You subscribe to the channel, you'll get notifications. If you click subscribe and go over the top and say all, then you'll get a notification when a video in that channel comes out. Same thing with mine and everybody else that wants to make it easy to find. But Dave is doing a great job with us, and we're going to grow because of that website. We really are. Hey, what's the deal? I see Dane shaved. Did y'all notice that the glare? It was, you can actually see his face.
I'm looking forward to the day that Billy shaves. I want to recognize him.
Probably block out the sun with that stuff gets floating around. All right, Dane just threw something on the chat line for us about this product, and we're going to narrow that down, or bring it to a point where if you look for something, you get this, Dave. We're giving you a job here, or another job. One day we're going to be able to develop. Oh, look out! Mark Solei's awake. One day we're going to find a way to, if you're looking for something and you can go to the website, you can find that product. And it won't be commercial. If you're looking for such and such and 10 people handle it, maybe we can put the 10 names there. We want to stay non-commercial and non-market like that. But helpful. That'd be it. Wait a minute. I'm looking at.
If you put this on a computer screen, you get all the small pictures of everything.
Right now.
All right. I'm having some. All right. I'm going. I can.
What's the glue, guys? What's the super thin glue?
3408 Parson Adhesives. 3408.
Okay.
Mr. John, I'll put it on the chat. I'll put the part numbers down, and I got Mark Solei's name right out by the side of it.
Okay.
That will be fine. I'll look in a minute.
What was his name?
Just so you folks know, according to federal law, Billy can't shave that off. He's got to keep it.
Okay, tell me how that works.
Yeah, I still got to chop mine off every spring.
Guess I got my seasons mixed up.
Yeah.
I see Johnny Hughes is with us tonight.
Yeah, it is, Johnny. No
Oh,
wading
yeah.
boots or anything.
Yeah.
I got the Parfix 3460 also from Mark Soleil. I think it's a little bit thicker version that you could use on pins. I haven't tried it yet, but I got some of that also.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, the 3460 is 45 centipoids. It'll still soak into the wood, but it won't lock up down in the bearings or the bushings.
I don't know.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, he did his
Hey,
job.
see, Frank is directing me here. We're standing here, and we've just been on. I did a demo on the Atlanta Wood Turning Guild tonight, and there's a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so Frank's my cameraman tonight.
All right.
Okay.
I got to get one of those, really. Right after the makeup guy. We're going to do the makeup guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm bribable for pizza or good ribs, so you know.
Yeah.
Really? Y'all a trip. All right. You know, we all hanging around. At 7 o'clock, we're going to start the regular program. And I want to say it right now because I don't want it to go overlooked or under-mentioned or whatever. How do you say that? We've been asking for a couple of weeks. The club has been asking for a safety director because bottom line, I'd rather be unlike everybody else doing videos and promoting this trade that we love. I would rather, getting audio in here again. I would rather lead the pack by saying every week when we get together, here's a safety tip. And we had David Schnell. I hope I'm saying it right, David. David Schnell, he's in tonight as a co-host. David will, at 7 o'clock in the evening, the top of the hour, give us a brief safety minute, something that relates to what we do, from cleaning a mask to what kind of shoes to wear, if your outfit matches. No, he's going to get serious and save you pain, money. If you have had to deal with your wife after you got hurt in the shop, you know what else is going to save you? Your butt. So we welcome him aboard, and we're looking to make some other additions to what we have in our pack here. And it's an open club. If you got it, bring it on. We love it. Dane's with us tonight. He's been handling gallery. Let me tell you right off the bat how that happens. You got something to show. You put it in chat. You say, hi, this is Matt, and I have a piece to show. And Dane will call. Where'd Matt go? Dane will call on you and click up your video, and then we'll be able to see you, and you can talk about the piece. But remember, we want to know what kind of wood it is. We want to know the size it is, and especially because of Ronnie Bonnet, we need to know what the finish is. Because I saw a video yesterday, and I can't find the video. A guy did a Femisphere. You know what a Femisphere is? Yeah, I got one in my cabinet here that I did a big one. That's really unique. I have to get it out. But it's a twisted configuration of a top. How's that? And he was doing it out of some extremely exotic wood turning stuff. Ronnie, you know what he was turning it out of?
Got to be my favorite wood. It's got to be out of pine.
2x4. 2x4. And the reasoning was it cuts so crummy that you better be good with sharp tools to do it. You can't go in and hog it out. It'll just go to garbage. So, but I'm going to talk to that guy about doing a video for us, because it seems, you know, some of these things, well, this one is useless, but it's a pretty piece and it's unique and it will build your skills. So I tell people, don't turn down turning wine bottle stoppers or ink pens or the bracelets for jewelry or rings or anything else. they might sound like they're novelties, but they're not. Thinking about the technique you have to use, the finishing, the cutting, the slicing. You can't be a hog at it. And because of that, you can be a much better turner on everything else. So it doesn't matter what you turn out, it's how good you turned it out. We're still collecting photos by members. So if you got photographs you want us to use on the website, the newsletter, and elsewhere, you send us that photograph by email to the club email address. Don't send it to me by text or all these left-handed things and all. Nope. Email to the email address, the club email address, Worldwide Woodturners at gmail.com. And we'll use that photo. We'll get a lot in this month. Y'all been really busy. It's really good. And we're still looking for demos.
You know, our friends from England can't get 2x4s. They're all metric, aren't they?
That's cruel. You know, it's just cruel. But hey, the guy that did the Femisphere, he says all his dimensions are in metric. And do you know why? Come on.
Easier to use.
He's in Canada.
Easier to use, yes.
Hey, one thing, I was in Australia about a year ago. And one thing, I went to the hardware store just to see what they had. And one thing they do two 2x4s nested together will make a 4x4. You don't have to put a spacer in between them. It's rectangular.
There's still 2 inches.
No, they're not 2 inches. They're metric and they come in different sizes, but the thickness is half the width.
Okay.
Where our 2x4 is 1.5 inches and 3.5. If you stack them together and try to get a 4x4 with it or turn it sideways, you got to add a 1/2 inch spacer in there. Theirs don't. Theirs match up.
We have on staff a director of 2x4 turning, and I'm gonna have to talk to him and see if he can come up with something like that. But I think it was a 66-2 standard that made them to where they all have to meet a certain, because before the 66-2 standard, man, that size would vary by whoever's trying to cut the most out of every tree. Gerald Avery says, wanting a laser engraver to do the bottom of bowls and wood pens. Christmas has to be able to do this on the cheap without much computer knowledge. And his suggestions, this is from Gerald Avery out of Winter Haven, Florida. So if y'all can help him out, he's on the chat board right now. Gerald, I bought one, very low grade. I thought very low grade. And then I got parts in to upgrade it. And the other night, sitting here at my desk, playing around with the thing, I went, you can almost see it. I went right through the piece of wood that I was using, burned right through it, which wasn't really nice, but you do some artwork. Then I discovered there's a couple of other brands out there, and in doing research, they might be a little bit better, but I don't want to burn my bridge before we get there. But if you have suggestions on that, mine came from Johnny. You know, we went to his house and saw this thing he was using. I was a wood turner. I had to have one that day. Anybody think we got about 5 or 10 minutes before we get to Trey and our who's that? David, are you going to have a safety moment for us?
Yeah, and it's actually Jeff, but you got the last name right.
Daddy?
Yeah.
I see Brenda Thompson's with us tonight, and I hope she'll be up for this safety demonstration tonight. And we'll have to get her involved, and she'll have to ask the safety man some questions.
Yeah.
How you doing, Brenda?
You talking about me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't see any Band-Aids or nothing, so you must be doing all right this week.
Yes. And you know what? I wanted to tell you, while I was waiting for the meeting to start tonight, I was watching a YouTube video This guy was turning a locust crown. Guy's name was David Adamson. He had the same lathe I do, turning a big chunk of locust like I was. And when he turned that lathe on, that lathe started walking just like mine did. And as I was watching, then I realized that man was actually sitting on the lathe. Yeah.
Evidently, does he have a speed control on that thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I sit on mine all the time.
That's a good lesson. Turn your speed control all the way down before you
I did. I had mine on low, but I just
Check to see, is he like a Bronco rider? How's that work?
yeah, he was actually sitting on the end of the lathe.
That's like David Ellsworth, right? He has a
Yeah,
tell
but
him
put on it.
if you do that, make sure you're stable, because I have a friend that did that with his one-way, climbed up on his one-way because he saw the professional do it one day, and he twisted his arm up really bad. He missed about 6 months off the lathe, but he wasn't stable. So if you're stable, you can do it.
Oh my goodness. I was blown away. I ain't trying that.
Tell him to get some boots. Tell
I'm
him
gonna
to get
figure
some
out how to
boots
turn a
and
piece
spurs,
while
and
standing up.
he can mount that thing and ride it. You know, not too long ago, I called Eddie and I told him, man, you got to watch this video. This gentleman that's on YouTube quite a bit. I'm not going to tell you his name or nothing, but he's got a big old grizzly, the large grizzly lathe, and at this point he had it about a year or so, so he was well used to it at this point. He put a piece of wood on this thing and it went to shaking, and it turned the whole lathe over on its face down on the floor.
Goodness.
Wow.
And people just have to be aware and be safe and turn those speeds down some.
Is
It's
that the
all
one,
right.
Ronnie? Is that the one where the log came off and hit the light? And
Well, no, that's another time. Not too long ago, the same person, he had a big old hunk of wood on there, and he was proceeding to spin this thing. And about 5 minutes after he was into it, this piece of wood exploded. And behind his lathe, he's got a plywood 2x4 wall. It went through the plywood. It came up, it tore the light above him, like a fluorescent light. It tore all of that out, and as it came past him, thank goodness it missed him, because this man must be 75 or 80 years old, and if it would have hit him, we wouldn't have had him anymore. So it's one of those things, this is a fun hobby, but you have to be safe before you start to do anything. When you walk up to that lathe, take about 10 seconds and touch on all the safety points of what you need and the way everything looks before you turn that button on, because after you turn that button on, it's too late. So
you have to use common sense. You have to rough it out slowly and then turn your speed up.
Correct.
that common sense is a trick. That's it, right? I mean,
That's one nice thing about some of the variable speed lathes that use the three-phase with the torque converter. They ramp up to speed. They don't hit the speed instantly. So when it starts ramping up, you usually can shut it down as in an emergency situation. Not the best way, but it's still, you do have a shutdown.
Well, the main thing is you get complacent with this hobby, and the longer you turn, the more complacent you get. So a person that's new is going to be safer than a person that's been turning for quite a few years. It's just one of those things. You become complacent and you do things that you know you shouldn't have done. And we've all been there. We've all done that. So
don't go strapping a saddle on that lathe, Brenda.
Uh-oh.
I'm not doing that. That ain't happening.
But if you do, get video for God's sake.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And it's
Not gonna happen.
Don't
Okay,
forget
hey,
that
Right on,
dog,
Cowgirl.
too.
with all this talk of being on the lathes, I think what I'll do is we'll take it back to the 1980s. I'll be Tawny Katane laying on the vehicles there. All right, on my lathe. Do I look good? Am
Doug, I can't unsee that, Doug. I cannot unsee that.
Woo!
I have, I
Thank
that is
you.
emblazoned on my mind, guys.
I'm
Is that
aware
the
of
moment-
competing next weekend.
My
Very
mind's
good.
eye, my mind's eye.
I'm glad that light's behind you.
Doug, you were planking.
Well, fortunately, the glare off your head kept us from seeing too much.
Okay, that's good.
The
Now,
truth
when the
hurts.
light comes down, yell out, "What the heck are you doing?"
Hey, so on a more serious note, I got some pens in. So I got to give a big shout out to, I'm going to mess this last name up, but Dan Debenedetto.
Nice try.
I'm glad you did it, not me, because
Dan, are you on?
Yeah, Dan, you with us tonight?
I'm here.
Hey, Dan, thank you very much. So y'all, Dan sent me some pens to get out to the troops. I got them right here. He wrote me a nice letter. I appreciate that. And I give you my word, I will be putting these in the hands of the troops. Thank you
All
for
right,
sending
thanks, Mark.
those.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Betcha. Now tell us how to really say your last name, because I'm sure I added a few more syllables.
It's De Benedetto.
De Benedetto.
De Benedetto.
Don't you have Italians in Arizona? Come on, give me a break, Doug.
It took me a long time to learn to pronounce it myself, so I can't hold it against you. Thanks. I really appreciate it, Dane. Thank you.
All right, folks, let's get cranking going this evening. Right off the bat, I have to apologize. I put in our safety director as David Schnell. In fact, I put it down every place as David Schnell. But you have to understand, or maybe you don't understand, after my brain tumor, I can't do names. If you walk up and say, "Hi, I'm Bob," 10 seconds later, I don't know your name. It's just a quirk of what happened. I lost my memory and my looks all in one evening. But our safety director is Jeff. And we asked him that every single meeting that he can attend, that we do a safety moment. And this is kind of open. If you'd like to ask Jeff to do something or target something or help something or whatever, but name of the game is we will turn wood but not get hurt. Jeff, go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you, Eddie. So my safety moment of the day is one of the things I've learned as I put my safety goggles for all my equipment. I have to move, make the conscious and not be used. So I hang on my tools, I hang on my bandsaw, my drill press, again, I've got to think. Yep.
We're having some major audio problems with it, and we don't have a video from you. It's blanked out or frozen. It looks like it's from the generator, from whatever you're using.
You guys see me now?
Sounds like you're coming through as a robot.
Really? Yeah. Double check.
About his network bandwidth is low. I see that on my screen.
Yeah, that's a bandwidth issue.
Like a 75 RPM record on a 45 setting.
I was thinking like show Get Smart. Jeff, I think Jeff blanked
How about
out.
this? How's this one? Is this working now?
That sounds better, but we can't see you.
All right, wait a minute. I can get them
You
up.
still can't see me.
Hey, wait a minute. Now I can't get them on the phone. Why don't one of the other co-hosts see if they can spotlight them up?
Got it.
There we go.
Still
There we
says
go.
bandwidth is low,
Okay,
but
let's
at least we can
start
hear
over
you a
again.
little
Well,
better.
thank you. All right, great. So my safety part of today, safety moment will be, one of the things I like is I put my safety goggles, my safety glasses, my masks right on top of the equipment I'm use. That you have to make a conscious decision not to use them, move them away. Even if they're cheapy ones that you're not going to really use, but it make you think, oh, let me get my goggles to put on before you go to use that equipment.
Good idea. It's like that 3, 2, 1, go. You know, they only do 3, 2, 1, go, so you're ready. If you do that with your safety gear, you're ready.
Right. So I'll get a list of safety stuff. I've got a couple of things. I've done presentations throughout the clubs I've got, and we'll get that on the website. And any other things that people want to talk about, we'll put them together. And it's not only me, it's everybody. So let's be safe out there, everybody. All right. Maybe I'll even shave next week.
Oh, wow, you'd be looking like Dane.
Join the club.
Folks, if you
All right,
got,
thank you.
you have something like that you'd like to share, put it in the chat. He has access to the chat just like you do, and you put it in the chat. We're there. We have it. It's coming up on 7 o'clock. It's October the 21st. Wow, Halloween's only 10 days away. We have asked a member to provide us or develop videos, demonstrations for us, and that's Trez Lynette. And we have had a great response to this. I mean, he is still doing wonders for us on the Christmas Ornament Challenge, and something came up. It's not the bent tin demonstration, Billy, but something came up, and he asked us, can we do this video and show it to you? Now, part of our deal with him is we will not record it. I'm turning off the recorder right now, and so is our IT guy. And on tonight's demonstration, if you, like Trey said, if you want to talk about it, give him a call, drop him a line, get in touch, because that's what we're all about.
And fix the colors up on it. This one was red and yellow. And you got some beautiful colors. This was just red, a couple of different color reds. This one, I'm not too sure I like the purple on it, but I did electric arc on the ornament doing that.
I think the purple looks great.
Yeah, and this had a little purple on this part of it, so I could fix it and burned on it.
Trey, those are beautiful.
And this was nature. This is pure nature. A piece of box elder I actually got this from Mark Soleil years ago. So, but I did like the process that he did on doing this. It was he scraped it. He applies the stain on a scraped piece, not a sanded piece. He said if it's sanded, you fill the pores. So the piece is scraped, stained, and you actually apply 2 coats initially, and the reason why is so you don't get the lines in there. Then you sand it back with the first set of sandpaper. In this case, 150. Apply another coat. Sand it back to the next grit sandpaper. Apply another coat. And sand it back to the next grit. I applied blue with this originally, and then put red on the top of it. That's where the purple comes from blue and red. And it's just sanded on back to it and you work your way through the grits. If you don't like the final thing, you can put another coat on, sand it some more. And it works real well with the wood that has any figure into it, because you can see some beautiful figure in it. This didn't have much figure, and it did work well on this wood. But anyhow.
You got this lines?
On?
Sorry, go ahead.
2 people were talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, did you color those before you put the finials on?
No, yes, I did. I did the color totally before I put finials on it.
Thank you.
I lacquered them after I put the finial on, but I colored them first, totally. Otherwise, it would have been bleeding. That color would have been bleeding into the finial on the top, on the bottom. And what I wound up doing, I put it between centers to sand it. I have a 1/2 inch hole in there and a 1/2 inch hole pushed against there. This is a live center. And I put it between there and just spun it, sanded it, and pull it off back on to go through the grits on it.
Thank you, Craig. Phil Irons developed that staining, and I'd love to get a hold of Philip and get him involved because he's an old friend and he does some excellent teaching. And I'm sure he'll help us out. All right. Anybody else on questions? But otherwise than that, I think Dane has been waving at me for a few minutes. He's got some folks in the bullpen for show and tell or gallery. I like to call it that. But let me stop and say thank you, Trey. And
You're welcome.
this is awesome. Okay.
And I'm thinking for next week, I may do this. This is a stone inlay on it, and I think I'll go ahead and do this for next week. And how I do the inlay work.
Wow. All right. And remember, folks, we still have our Christmas ornament challenge going on or occurring right now, and turnout has been a little light, so Trey might be walking away with all the talk. So let's get some more ornaments in here. Come on, folks.
We send the pictures to where, Eddie?
Our club website, worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com.
Thank you.
All right. Dane, you want to take it up and bring him somebody else for gallery?
Sure.
Can I release him? You have to.
No, I'll take care of it.
All right.
Let's check. Let's see. We're going to go to Doug Miller. Doug, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Thank you. Couple of folks last week were wondering why I was so quiet. I was in the meeting last week, but I was quiet. I had not been in my shop the entire week. So while the meeting was going on, I decided to turn a little bit, pulled out a little piece of mulberry, and there you have it. That little jewel is 9 inches tall. It's about 1.25 inches wide. Definitely hollowed out the cup. The stem is it's less than 1/4. It's pretty thin.
How do you keep it so thin without blowing?
I don't think you got that stem thin enough, Doug.
Well, I intended to go about half of what it is, and I chickened out. I hadn't done one in a long time, so I chickened out. But I'll do the next bit. What's that?
I said I was joking.
You were joking, but I wasn't. I really did chicken out. I meant for it to be about half that thick. But anyway, it still has a little weight on it. I left the bottom, that's solid, so it would have some weight at the bottom. It won't tip over quite so easily. Finished with what I've been doing lately is the abrasive paste and then wax on top of that. So just a very simple goblet really, but it was an exercise on turning thin and just getting back onto the lathe.
Hey, Doug.
Yes, sir.
If you lift up and look at the bottom, it looks like that thing needs a little vase and set it right on top of it. That would be a nice finial.
Yeah, I saw that after I did it. I thought, man, that would sit right on top of a jug or a vase or something of that nature. Yeah.
I seen that. I thought it was.
That's a different shape. You did a good job, and you really did a good job if you turned that quick.
Yeah, I finished it about a half an hour after we finished hanging out when the meeting was over.
Great job.
Thanks,
great, buddy.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, looks good.
Yes, it is.
And while Dane goes our next gallery member, somebody said, how do you turn it that thin and don't break it? there's about a dozen different ways, and one of them is just a string steady. And they're very simple to make. What you need is shoe polish.
What I did was instead of pushing, once I got the cup turned, I did stuff a paper towel in there and pulled up my tailstock. But instead of pushing against it, I put tape on it and pulled it. So I wasn't putting pressure on the stem. Put negative pressure on it, and it works beautifully to do it thin like that.
Okay, we need a demo about that, guys, gals.
Idea.
All right, need a demo. All right, who else you got, Dane?
All right, I'm going to jump over to Joaquin. Let's see, I'm looking you up right now, buddy. There you are. Talk to us, Joaquin.
I had to unmute. So I had the outstanding opportunity 2 weeks ago to have my first student in the class, and that's a young man, the son of my girlfriend, and he's 17 and was very timid around the lathe. I had just watched 3 weeks ago, y'all mentioned the videos about slicing the wood, and I had literally, this was Thursday morning after Wednesday night, and all morning I'd watched those videos, and I came out and spent a little time on the lathe, and he came out and he wanted to turn, and he came up with this little, silver maple bowl. And having just watched those videos and spent a little time practicing it, I had him use those cutting techniques. And this kid with his first bowl was cutting with less tear out. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and his first bowl using the technique was less tear out than I was getting for at least a year. So thanks for the tip and watching the videos. I can't remember whose videos they are.
Mark Soleil.
Mark Soleil, yes. And I'm going to tell you, I love the technique. I've been practicing and really being considering exactly how my tool is approaching the wood. So being able to pass that on and see immediate results with somebody who had never touched the lathe before was really exciting. That was fun. So that's his bowl. It's got this little shape to it. So in there, it's probably right at a 1/2 inch thick. He was very timid, of course, first bowl, it's going to be thick and heavy. But I thought he did a pretty decent job on it. And then something I'm working on, it's why I'm out in my shop rather than sitting in my lounger. I just got started, again, thanks Capnetti. I just got started turning pens. And I made a set of Euro style walnut for my dad. And I decided he needed a presentation box. So this is hollow, capping the end with cherry burl, wild cherry burl. And as you can see, I'm having some challenges. I've already cut back and sanded back once. But I will then slice it that way. I've ordered some little hinges, little gold hinges to match the Euro kit. And I got to find some felt to line it so those those pens don't get dented up. But that's what I'm working on tonight. Why I brought you guys out to the shop instead of sitting in the lounger, because this project has been bugging me for a couple of days. So I've been out here for about 8 hours today working on this thing.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing with us tonight, and thank you for bringing a young man into our group.
I'm hoping to get him more involved. He wants to start turning pens, so maybe we'll keep him on the lathe.
All right. All right. Who else we got, Dane?
Let's see. Let's go to Gary. Gary, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty.
The host is spotlighted. Oh, okay. Okay, this is a bowl of China berry. It's 8.5 inches wide and about 4 inches thick from back to front. It has all kinds of spalting in it. I hope you can see that.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
problem I ran into, this is the backside, it has a whole lot on it. The problem I ran into was right here and here. I turned the backside first and I noted these were big cracks. So I tried using some CA glue and that didn't do a bloody thing for it. So then I used some epoxy resin and put them into the cracks. And on this one, it kept disappearing, which didn't ring in my brain as to what it was doing. But I finally got them to stop taking all of the epoxy. And then I turned the inside of the bowl. When I turned the inside of the bowl, this big, huge hole suddenly appeared. And I was trying to fill that hole from the backside, I discovered. But by turning it down, I was able to get most of the hole gone away, but filled the rest of this with the epoxy. Came out really nice, and I just I used a round nose scraper on it to get into here and clean this out. Came out really what I like. I thought it was really pretty. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick. Of course, my base, which I have a problem with the bases, is probably closer to 3/8 of an inch thick. I have a real problem turning the base, getting it real thin. Anyhow, I had a lot of fun with the China berry. I've got a whole bunch of it. A friend of mine gave me some, and I love the way it looks and it turns. I have 2 coats of sanding sealer and 2 coats of Arm R seal on it. Not gloss, but satin. And I think it came out pretty decent.
I like it. It's beautiful.
Very nice.
I like it too. Very nice.
Nice, Gary. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dane,
Oh, and Trey, thank you.
All right, so let's see. Don Wilson, you're up next. Talk to us, sir.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, it's a piece of Yoshino cherry. Stands about 9 inches top to bottom, and it's 10 inches from lip to lip. There's some pointers in there from 3 different people: Rudy Lopez, Mark Slay, and Frank Bowers. Frank Bowers' idea was to, when you turn it green, to even the sides, everything all the way around. When it dries, it shouldn't crack. This one cracked top to bottom, but it's filled with resin. I used the Ritz dye to get some color there, but I didn't want to pitch it because the grain was just too nice, and my wife liked it, and she don't like anything. But I learned from Mark Slay, was a pole cut, cutting out through here and then feathering this out. So I took a class from Rudy Lopez. That's where I got the idea. I've done several vases like that. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick, top to bottom, out in the lip and whatever. So. And it's got a Minwax antique oil finish with a Renaissance wax on the outside.
Looks very good.
That's very neat too.
I'm glad you saved it. That was a beautiful piece. That is a beautiful piece.
Nice work, Don.
Thank you.
Dane?
All righty, let's see. Who is the next lucky contestant on? Show us what you made this week. Cade, talk to us.
Hi, everybody. I was commissioned by a percussion instrument artist. Plays the drum and other percussion instruments. So these were all turned on the lathe between spindles. Well, the piece here wasn't turned on the lathe. That was cut on the bandsaw and then sanded on my sander. But these 2 pieces were turned on the lathe, turned equal beads on the lathe, cut through on a bandsaw, and they would use this as an instrument to get different effects in different styles of music. So they can go with the rib bar across the ribs, or they can tap the different ones to get different sounds. So this is brown maple, black walnut. The stem of this one is elm, and the handle is ash. The other one I made for him the exact same size and dimensions that he provided me with. And this one is made with, again, ground maple, black walnut drumming stick, and a beech handle. So those I will be sending them out to him this week. And one thing I did this afternoon, I did a interactive remote demo, and I turned a thin-walled footed bowl with an undercut lip. This bowl is turned to a 1/16 of an inch, and it has no sanding because you don't want to sand and bore people in a demonstration.
That's right.
Okay. This one here is finished. This one is brown maple again. They're both brown maple. This one was turned to 1/8 of an inch, consistent wall thickness. The foot is 3/16 of an inch, cut at a slight dovetail, so you have a nice curve, meet a sharp corner. It's aesthetically pleasing. And the finish, which I'm known as Mr. Shiny because all my stuff has to be shiny. I have to be able to shave in it, but I don't shave too often.
Oh,
So-
good. Okay.
But it has to be shiny so I
it.
can see myself in it before it leaves. And the finish on this is tung oil.
Very nice.
Nice.
Really
Really
very
nice.
Great job. The finish on the instruments are actually just a few coats of diluted boiled linseed oil because I didn't want to fill all the surfaces of the wood. I just wanted to seal it to keep it from moving and absorbing excessive moisture and water in the air. He wanted it left semi-matte, so it would sound very natural, not like plastic where the wood is plasticized.
So did he say whether different types of wood would make different types of percussion sounds from it?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay.
He gave me a couple of different ideas of different woods he would like, and he settled on brown maple because that was the tone he wanted.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can make some small sets of those and give to people with 2-year-old kids to run around the house and go.
No. Give them to them in the back seat so they can drive you crazy on those long family trips.
But give them to them when you're leaving the house, when you're going home.
Right. That's it. Verbally that.
Kids.
Mail it to them.
Nice.
Okay.
Mail it to the grandkids.
All right.
Thanks,
On the
everybody.
tongue oil. Was that pure tongue oil?
Yes.
Yes. Actually, no, not pure tongue oil. It was polymerized tongue oil.
Okay.
Yeah. Pure tongue oil can take months, if not years, to fully dry, depending on the conditions.
Yeah, I've got a friend that does pure tongue oil. He soaks them there for weeks at a time in the oil, and it takes months to dry them out. So
Yeah.
that's
It
why.
is food safe, and then you're able to use it quicker. But if you use a tongue oil with hardeners and levelers in it, once it evaporated and you're past that incubation period, this piece is totally food safe as well. You could chew on it without worrying about carcinogens.
Maybe
Thank
a
you.
splinter or two, but no carcinogens.
Yeah,
Very
maybe a splinter or two. Maybe an upset owner,
Very nice. Very
but
nice, Cade.
not toxic.
A lot of positive comments in the chat session tonight. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Do you
All
have
right.
somebody else up, Dane?
Well, we had Bruce from Tennessee, but I don't see him in the participants anymore. I don't know. Bruce, are you still there?
You have to speak, and then we can, your picture will pop up.
Bruce from Tennessee?
They
No,
explain, for
he's
folks
not in
that-
the list anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
For folks that don't follow this, we're using about 5 co-hosts right now. And what they, and you could be one. What they do is see this information when somebody says, I want to show you something. One of them has to click up your photograph. Then we got to spotlight you, et cetera, et cetera. This is a really basic video editing program. So you give us a little bit of your patience when we do it. We love what's happening and where it's coming from. And I got to jump all over this right now. I don't think I've seen a demonstration in a club meeting in a long, long time as good as Trey did for us tonight. I mean,
Yes.
a really long time.
It was excellent.
Yeah, and he's a demonstrator. He did it for us. We don't pay him. He's a member of our club. He's one of our co-hosts when we're clicking along. But that's why we're here. Too often I'm getting emails of club the disease. COVID has changed the world a little bit, but now it's changing back a little bit. A lot of clubs went to virtual information and virtual meetings, and I get invited to them all the time. And now I'm getting told from different clubs, it won't be open to the public anymore. We don't pay anything for 100 guys more than we pay for 20 guys.
Right.
So we have to work at getting this program, virtual meetings, expanded so that anytime you're looking for something, you can go find it, or you can find a link to their recorded sessions. It's the new world, and we want to be in it. So, Dane, anybody else at the bullpen?
Yeah, it looks like we've got Mike Morris wants to show something off. Give me a minute to pull you up, Mike.
Okay,
There he is.
you got it?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I turned this today. It's just a little, one of my first little birdhouse ornaments. But I've got a question, Eddie. I don't know if you can see it, but every time I turn a finial or anything, I get a little chatter here, a little rough edge. What is that caused from?
Yeah. My venture would be that you're not slicing. Now wait, don't jump all over me.
Right.
The slicing could be one, but number two, you could have some bearings or holding problems that's allowing the material to move slightly.
Okay.
And so if you go back to it with whatever tool you're using, this is what I would do. I'd go back to whatever tool I'm using, and I'd put my finger on my fingers on the piece that I'm cutting. And if I feel the vibration at all the cuts, it's movement in your chuck or your holding system. If not, if I don't have that vibration, I got to look at how my cutter is being presented in order to do the slice.
Okay.
Because some was tear rather than cut.
It might also be thin. I work from the tailstock to the headstock, so I'll make the tailstock section of it as thin, and then I'll slowly work towards the headstock, keeping the headstock as thick as possible. So if I get too thin and then try to go back out, further away from the headstock, then I'll get vibration because the wood is moving because it's too thin.
Right, and that's what I did here. I worked from the tailstock towards the headstock, and when I got to this, and even this next cut here, there's little bitty chip out kind of things, and I was turning to high speed, and I've done that on a couple of different things, and it's consistent. So I'm gonna put a dial indicator on it and see if I got some bearings going or whatever might be causing it. I don't know.
Which chisel are you using on that little area?
I got that. I actually, first time I did it was with that little, that special little
Carbide pointer?
No, it's the one Mark Slay does. That little.
The detail gouge?
Yeah, the detail gouge. But then I went back with the skew, and it cleaned it up some, but I couldn't get rid of it.
Mike, what kind of wood are you turning?
This is maple.
Let me throw it out here while we're going, not to be a know-it-all, but I would consider a scraper.
Okay.
To do final cuts. Scraper's way underrated, way underrated. And a scraper's got a true rolled bevel edge on it. which means you can touch it up while you're using it. You only get 3 or 4 passes with it, but how many do you need? You touch
Right.
it, diamond stone, go back to cutting again.
Okay.
All right, Mike. Mike, you're local in the South Mississippi, right?
Yeah. I'm
You're
in
a
Gulfport.
lighthouse plumber. You're in Gulfport? Well, I tell you what, after Peter Anderson, which is the first weekend in November, give me a call, come on over, put a mask on,
Right.
wear a mask, and I'll walk you through it.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
How about that? One-on-one demonstrations.
Man, you can't ask for no better than that.
I don't think you can. That's why we're here.
Yep.
Dane?
I believe that is it, unless Doug, the first sergeant's got anything to show us. You got any hot
I've been super busy and haven't had much time to get out. I was messing around a little bit tonight, but haven't made anything worth showing anybody other than some shavings on the floor. But I'm going to call out one of our other turners tonight because I happen to be watching that turner's video on YouTube, and now I'm fixing to probably spend some more money. So Kim Tippin, please tell us more about your one-way coring system.
Can you
Oh yeah, that thing is awesome. Matter of fact, my video this Thursday, tomorrow night, will have some details, not too technical, because it took me about 2 hours to set it up, because when it comes in the box, everything's kind of bolted down wrong, and the one-way video that they sent me on DVD wouldn't play. And then when I went online to go look at the setup video, it's like a 1990s.
They're good, aren't they?
Oh, I was like, this is horrid. I
Shot
can't
on an old Motorola
Yeah,
phone.
he's telling you how to put this thing together like you've done it 16 million times before and you just need a refresher. I was like, oh, and I felt so blonde putting this thing together after I figured it out. It was so simple and it made me feel even more blonde than what I already am. So yeah, it was one of those. Shut up. So anyways, I have Doug in my ear. So anyways, the coring system is very simple once you get it all set up and figured out. And it's literally, you're like, I can't believe it took me longer to set it up than it did to core out bowls. And so, yeah, it definitely worth the money. What I love about the coring system is the one way, it's called Easy Core, is you buy your base system that fits on your lathe, and then you can buy knife sets as you save money. So I purchased the first 2 smaller knife sets, which was 9-inch and 11.5-inch. And that enabled me to not have to spend a ton of money all up front, which some systems are like $700 and there's no option to, purchase knife sets later on down the road. It's all together. So that's what I liked about the one way is I can afford to save money as I want to buy knife sets. So that was a bonus. The only downfall about the system that I noticed is where the 2 bolts are. You constantly have to use your wrench to, loosen them and tighten them. So I contacted a friend of mine who is going to make bolt head handles for those bolts, so you can easily just loosen them and tighten them without, because I always drop my wrench in my garbage can underneath my lathe. So that's the only con that I noticed so far about the system. Everything else is awesome. Even the cutters, removable, sharpenable. My video this Thursday has a little bit about it, how I felt about it. Kind of showed how I set it up in a fast version because it took me forever the very first time. So anyways, yeah, if you have any questions about it, I've used it twice. I don't know how much I'd have to offer, but used it twice.
Kim, did you get the carbide cutters or did you stick with the HSS?
That go on the cutters that go on it. Whatever ones came on it.
Okay.
I didn't know there was an option.
Yeah, so the carbide cutters. So you think it's quick coring right now? Get it. Spend the $50 for the carbide cutter, and you'll slice through it in half the time.
Really?
Yeah. So, I core, primarily mesquite and eucalyptus out here. And I've done, I don't know, 50, 55 bowls. And my carbide cutter, I haven't even touched it on a diamond stone, and it still cuts just like it was the first one.
Really, I didn't even know there was an option. So that's how much I know about the system. It's
And
one of those,
Dane,
I'm
which
figuring it
system
out
do
as I
you
go.
have? Which system do you have, Dane?
I have the one way.
Okay. And that's what Kim's got.
Yeah, and I really like it. So a lot of the drawback you'll hear about the one way is, oh, you're locked into one size and one design based on the cutter, and that's just not true.
No.
You can position the base away from the bowl blank, and it doesn't have to be square on, and you can do it where you make a conical shape to go into your bowl. So like for myself, when I got mine, I got the 11-inch blade, which has a plus or minus 2 inches on it on the basic diameter cut, and then which is the number 2 blade, and the number 3 blade, which is a 13.5-inch
Mm-hmm.
cutter or arc diameter. And with that, I can get, to a max size of about 15.5 inches in diameter.
Yeah, I
And
noticed. I'm
that's
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. My second time using the system, I decided to see, can I bring this off center
right.
to get a little less than 9 inches, because my blank I was turning was 9.25. Because I'm one of those type of people. I'll get something, I'll be like, right off the bat, I'm like, what is its limitations? I'll be willing to break it just to see its limitations. So yeah, you don't have to, those blades aren't set to where you have to cut only 9 inch. You can bring them in, out, move them. And that was after just the second time using it. That's how intuitive the system is, where someone as dumb as me can move it around and see that it's not locked into one thing and that's it.
Yeah, because they make it seem like the cutters are, if you want to cut a 7-inch diameter bowl where you need to have, the number 1 cutter. You can use the number 2 cutter, and if you've only got 7-inch diameter to cut, by golly, you're only going to cut that 7 inches before the cutter's going to, you're going to stop. And if you just keep going through your bowl, then that's your own stupidity. It's like you said, it's IOCO. It's very obvious once you start using it. So, but yeah, I love it, and I spent money. I bought me some extra carbide cutters for mine, and I got the grinding jig for the HSS. It works great, but for my wood, it's just too hard, and it gets too dull too quickly. But the carbide just works awesome for me.
I'll have to look that up. I got mine, my system from Packard Woodworks, and I'm not trying to sell for them or anything. Don't get me wrong. They were the only ones that I could find that had the 18-inch base, because you buy the base, which bolts to your lathe, and it holds your cutter and your guide. They were the only ones that I could find that had the 18-inch. And not only that, when I compared their prices with Amazon, with shipping and everything, they came out to be like $30 cheaper than Amazon. So PackardWoodworks.com, I'll put the link in the chat here in a few minutes. They're worth looking at, and also found that they were cheaper for the wood bowl salad finish as well from anywhere else I found. So their prices are very, very competitive and quick shipping. So
but that's where I got mine from as well.
Yeah, and quick.
Mine's 20-inch base.
Yeah.
Now, a whole lot of people sell a whole lot of equipment, but I found that Packard has got those, I don't want to call them oddities. They've got those special tools that you wonder about. Where can I get this? Where can I get that? You're not going to get that out of a big box catalog. Take somebody that actually turns and uses it to understand.
And if you have an issue, you can get the engineer, Alan Packard, and he will talk to you on the phone. He will make videos for you. He will do like Eddie does. Alan Packard is a gem of a person to deal with there at Packard. So
yeah, we want to keep those people in business.
Yeah, we sure do.
Do they have catalogs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can order, go to PackardToolworks.com, and you can click the buttons and request a catalog. It's free. It's about an inch thick. It's in color. It's made with good paper.
I'm kind of a hands-on kind of guy. I like to have sit and look at it. So
Sure.
Uh,
I got a couple questions. If you guys are free for a minute.
Sure.
Has anybody ever turned Buckeye?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Send it all to me.
My son works in a tree removing company, and I get all kinds of stuff. I got sassafras, which is about 12 inches thick, 12 inches diameter or whatever. And now I come up with some Buckeye that's about 15 inches. So I'm thinking about turning some of it.
Buckeye is rather soft, and if it's green, it's going to move on you. I would take the time to dry it before you turn it, but it takes a nice finish after that. Also, if you get it that it's spalted, it makes very nice pens.
Oh, it's spalted.
Yeah.
And it's
And
green.
it is very soft, and I found that I get better results out of mine, especially for pins, if I stabilize it.
Yeah, me too. It cuts very well stabilized.
Yeah,
Dallas
I've got that far.
recommend you sell to me.
Just started turning. So I haven't got into part of any of the stabilizing or any of the
Well,
of it.
the easy way to stabilize is to send your, once you get them cut into pin blanks and they're nice and dry, the easy way to do it, and it's relatively cheap, costs you about $1 a blank, is to send it to RR White. They actually stabilize wood blanks for pin turners and major corporations. They use a different, they don't use cactus juice. They use, I don't remember the commercial product they use, but
Alumilite?
they stabilize using heat and pressure.
Yeah.
And I've always had really good results from them. And they're, I mean, seriously, accountant shipping and everything to and from, I'm paying about $1 a blank for stabilization, and it's well worth it.
But these logs are 12 to 15 inches. I mean,
Right. I was saying if you're gonna do pin blanks,
Oh,
you
I
can
see.
send bigger stuff to them. What they do is they charge by weight.
Yeah.
So they weigh your product before it goes into the stabilization. They weigh it again after, and they charge you based on how much chemical that your piece held. So you
Yeah.
can still send them big stuff, not just pin blanks. I was just
I see.
saying, for as a reference,
I
it cost me
yeah.
about $1 a pin blank.
I see. Because we had to cut these logs in two to get them off of the big flat drag trailer in the back of my truck. They're about 8 foot long, 15 inches thick. It's a big piece of wood.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Dallas, don't be afraid to just cut it up into bowl blanks, rough the bowl blanks out, seal them, put them on the shelf. Don't be afraid to do that.
Well, I've cut one off and I've split it, so I'm going to turn it down and try one piece.
All right.
Hey, have fun turning some of that wood green too. Like, yeah, like they're saying, it's gonna move on you, it's gonna crack, but who cares?
Yeah,
I don't
have
care.
Fun.
That just makes it that much more stylish, I think.
Right. I love turning green wood, and and sometimes you get lucky and it only cracks a little bit and you can fix it. But if nothing else, it's just fun, you know. So
Yeah.
dry some, save some, seal it, but turn some right away and have a good time with it.
But you know, if you don't live in a humidity environment that's 5% all the time, and you live someplace that's 80 and 90%, they don't crack. They move a little bit over a year, but they don't crack on you.
I'm right in Missouri, right in the center of Missouri, though, and it's been raining for the last week.
Some of that green, when you turn some of that green wood with the sap up in it, you're going to have to wear a raincoat when you turn it because it's like turning a watermelon.
Yeah, it's awfully heavy.
And we're open to watch videos of that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Billy's already posted that link for that stabilization.
Okay.
RRP White Company. It's River Ridge Wood Stabilizing.
I see that
up on our chat. Let me mention now because it's coming up on wrap up. If you're with us this evening, you are with us this evening, and something's been mentioned and put into our chat. I mean, I see where Kim's got stuff in, Dane's added stuff, Billy's got all these. This is all in chat. Now, if we stored a chat or displayed a chat on our website, worldwidewoodturners.org. Dave does a great job of putting that on in the video. But if you want the chat, go to chat right now. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a square with 3 dots. Whoa, lost me. a little square with 3 dots. Click on that and it'll say save chat. Now, here's the warning. Save it when you're getting ready to leave, because you save it now, anything that comes up after this won't be on there. Okay? With that, it's 8:35. We normally would run from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We start off early every time, 6:30, 6:45, some days even earlier. And we have a great meeting. Tonight, we had one of the most fantastic demonstrations. Now get this, it was free. It cost you nothing to go in. You didn't have to buy a hat or anything else. It was all free, and it was all done by you, for you. So tonight, I got to witness an awesome demonstration, just like you did. And we're looking to build more. So if you think we are coming up short, jump in, tell us, let us know. We're still working on people from all over the world to demonstrate for us. But here's the condition. We're not commercial. That's all. Kim mentioned the one-way turning system. I had to stay out of it. I really did. Why? Because my personal opinion is that's a family-owned company. When you call there, you can actually talk to one of the people that own the firm. You got a problem with the machine, you talk to him. You got a problem with the tool, you talk to him. Same thing happens at Packard. Some other places have got folks answering the telephone, but not at these businesses. So that's why we emphasize them, but we don't necessarily favor them. So we've had a great evening. I'm going to leave it live. I'm going to turn off my video and take out all the stops. So if y'all want to sit on the tailgate of the truck and talk for a little while, okay with that. Just remember, Doug tells dirty stories.
Eddie, everybody be safe. I'm going to hang it up tonight.
All right, so here's what I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
tell y'all.
everybody. Thank you again, Trey.
Hey, got a question.
You're welcome. Go ahead, you got me.
Hey,
Where are you going?
I'm actually headed home. I missed most of the meeting because I was working.
Okay.
Good, everyone.
Word.
So I caught the tail end on the bull blanks, and I missed. I know Doug would know something about it, but dealing with wet bull blanks in a dry climate.
Yeah.
What about it?
So I've done it a lot with elm. I've done it a lot with black walnuts. And so, again, I have no proof that this works. All I can tell you is I've had good luck with it. I will turn my bowl down to about the size that I want. I put a CA finish on the outside only. Let it set for about a week. My theory is it forces the water to come out through the inside. I seem to only get cracks on the inside. When I do it that way, I can fill those in and kind of call it a feature, and it seems to work. Like I said, I don't know if that's just me getting lucky quite a few times or if the chance is really there.
There's another way you can do it too, but go ahead, I'll comment.
What about just roughing out? What about just roughing out a bull blank? You know, just cutting your log up 4 bull blanks. How do you keep the moisture in there?
Oh yeah, the anchor seal or
I'm
glue or
dry.
Paint.
It
Okay.
depends.
Too. Anchor seal.
No,
It depends what type of.
Say latex paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, latex
Latex
paint, and what I've been
painting.
experimenting with lately. I have a few pieces in my woodshed that I used Elmer's glue, your regular white Elmer's glue, without watering it down. I have a few pieces with wood glue that I did water down. And then I have a few other pieces that I took beeswax, solid beeswax bar. After roughing it out, I took the solid beeswax bar on the inside and outside and let it heat up that beeswax bar and rub it all on the inside and outside. I have 3 pieces of cherry that I did. The one with the beeswax bar did not crack at all. The 2 with Elmer's glue did. So I have magnolia that none of it cracked at all with any method on it. So I think it depends on the species of wood, and cherry cracks. Like it's known to, if it dries too fast. And here in Florida, but latex doesn't work here because I think of the humidity. And but if you continually apply latex here in my humidity and how hot it gets, I think it would work. I've also let me show you, hold on. So this is kind of crusty and nasty, so ignore, it's just dust in my house. These little wax cubes that you buy for air fresheners in your home, they're scented waxes. I have like 6 of these all over the house, and I replace them every other day because I like my house to smell housey. So what I do is I pour these into a glass jar. Once they get full, I go out on my grill and get a pot of water going, and I do a double boiler type method and melt them down really good. And my logs that I haven't got a chance to cut yet, I leave the one half of it in the dirt, and the top half that's exposed, I just take and dump that over top of the logs. It helps keep them from cracking. And with sycamore, it works beautifully. Some of the other woods, I would have to reapply it just like I would latex. But there are so many cheaper alternatives depending on how your weather is and stuff, is how these particular methods. But what I would say is try different ones on the same species of wood. But first, before you try roughing out and doing that, try wet turning it start to finish, because that really gives you an idea of what that wood is doing, how fast it's drying. You get to really see what's going on with that wood when you try to turn it start to finish from green. From there, if you have extra logs, obviously, if you're gonna have a stockpile of these, then you use different methods because you get an idea of what that wood's doing. It's almost like I get to know it, before you start trying to fool with it, kind of thing. So yeah, there's a million different ways, and on YouTube there's so many people out there offer all kinds of money saving, and that's me, money saving things.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I have 2 logs at the house right now that are about 6 foot long. They're oak. They're kind of spalted already. And here we're getting in, I mean, they're saying snow Sunday.
Yeah.
So is that, can I cut those up into just blanks?
Yes, you can.
And
Oak will split on you. Well, at least down here in Florida, oak splits. I turned oak for a solid year before I turned any other wood, no lie. Like, me and oak have a love-hate relationship. Like, I know it and I hate it.
I've already turned one little deal out of it, and yeah, it's split on the wave. I left it overnight and it split.
Oh yeah, that stuff will split on you quick. Now with oak, I have found that coating it really good with mineral oil. Now that's going to, whether you can do that or not, depending on what finish you want to put on it when you're done, obviously makes a difference. I could coat it down really good with mineral oil. Now water wouldn't work. I could put water on it and put a bag over it. The next day I'd be like 6 inches of mold growed on it the next day. That's how it is down here in Florida. But I could put mineral oil on it really good, soak it down, not put a bag, come back out the next morning, and it hadn't hardly even moved. So that's an alternative. What it does is it displaces the water, so that way the wood doesn't even know that it's drying out. Kind of like fakes it out a little bit. So that's an alternative as well, is if you're trying to do start to finish, put mineral oil on it. When you go to sand it, you can continue using mineral oil as like a wet sanding, because that's what I used to do with oak to finish it, start to finish. Actually, I would use mineral oil because I couldn't even get the thing hollowed out before the rim of it was egg-shaped.
And then with the cold coming up, that's what I worry about, because my little shop isn't heated.
Yeah, neither is
So I wonder.
And I don't get that.
I wonder if I need to move inside.
I bet you don't really have to have the dining room table in the kitchen. You could probably put your lathe in there. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
the wife might get a little upset over that.
Just build a tabletop that sets on the lathe. Let the lathe be the table base, right?
Let
And
the lathe
have
be-
dinner.
There we go.
The
Just
tabletop
flip
off.
up.
Good.
Just like a
Make it a
photo.
flip up.
Yes, yes. Now you're thinking. I like that creativity. Let's roll with that.
Yeah.
Doug,
You
Is
must
that
be
his
in the
butt?
military, Doug. That's all right.
That's his body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see his. I see your.
Exactly
Doug?
what you're saying. Everything you do, and keep notes, keep track of what you're doing, weigh the wood. Also, there's a lot of stuff out there about how to process the wood. Cut the pith out of it. If you're going to make big, half piece of log, get that center out of it. Keep it from, possibly cracking. And, turn it start to finish in one shot. If you get interrupted, wrap it, keep it moist. Usually works, helps it out. But some things are going to crack no matter what.
Yep. There's a few different ways to do it. It also depends if you're a once turned kind of person or a twice turned kind of person. If you're a twice turned kind of person, you need to turn that wall thickness to 1% of the diameter of the bowl. So a 10-inch bowl would be 1 inch thick. Allow it to dry for a year. Then with that, I would seal it with an anchor seal. On the end grain, on both the inside and the outside, because that is where the moisture in the water is going to be released the fastest, and that is where your cracking is going to happen. If you do a once turned option, where you have the wall thickness to your final wall thickness, the key is to have consistent wall thickness all the way from the rim down to the foot, and the foot is the same wall thickness as your foot all the way. Your foot is the same wall thickness as the walls of your bowl all the way up. That way it will dry evenly and consistently. If you have a 1/2 inch rim and a 1/4 inch wall thickness at the bottom, it's going to dry inconsistently and it's going to crack on you, even if you seal it. When I do once turned, there's a couple different ways you can stabilize the wood. You can use the solvent, and with the solvent, what you can do is you take that piece with your oak logs. What I would do is I would process it like what Jeff said, cut them into pieces, whatever the diameter is, cut the log 2 or 4 inches longer in length to account for any cracking that might happen on the end grain. Then take it to the bandsaw, cut it down the pith to remove that pith. If you can turn all those pieces in a day, turn them green. If you have to leave them for a day because you can't get to them, I usually stick them in a garbage bag until I can get back to turning them. They will spalt slightly, but not much, depending how long you leave them. I tend to turn it to a final wall thickness, and I will use a boiled linseed oil mixed 25-75 to a solvent that evaporates. The solvent goes in and adheres to the water molecules displacing it. The oil of the boiled linseed oil is left behind and stabilizes the wood. As that solvent evaporates, the water evaporates with it, and you have less movement and less cracking. You can also put it in a room that might be heat and humidity controlled. I have a reptile room that is heat and humidity controlled. I also breed snakes. So when I turn my bowls, they all go into that room, which is heat and humidity controlled. I don't put any sealant on it, but my BLO and my solvent mixture. And with the humidity and the temperature control, the water is displaced evenly, and I have a 90% success rate.
I'll go along with that, except for the part about raising the snakes.
Yeah.
Yep. I see a room full of logs with snakes crawling around everywhere.
But Cade, it was a good idea.
Hey, Doug.
Jason, for our
Doug.
time out there, The
Which
boil,
Doug you looking for?
the diluted boiled linseed oil concoction is what I use for any of my greenwood out here. Typically, I will try and turn it to the final dimension within that day. But typically, when I'm doing a 20 or 24-inch bowl, that's not going to happen. I'll at least get the outside, turn the final shape. And then from there, I will coat the outside with the boiled linseed oil and denatured alcohol mix. And when I go in for the night, I will wrap it in cellophane the next day. Take the cellophane off. There's no movement. I will continue to apply the blow and DNA to the outside surface as I'm excavating the inside, and I have 0 cracks and I have 0 movement.
Depending how thin you go, you might have more movement than others, or also depending on the species, but go with it. Make that the feature of the piece. That gives it that artistic flair. And if you have a crack or a defect, work with it. You can inlay gold, you can inlay epoxy, you can inlay pewter, you can inlay mother of pearl. Make that the feature of the bowl.
And like
you
Eddie
can
said.
go on for years for sure.
But it's definitely doable. Piece caking, and like what I do with all my tree logs that I get, I keep them oversized. I do not cut them in half. I don't cut the pith out. I leave them oversized until I'm ready to use them. I rotate my log stock into my garage from my excess pit that I have outside in my backyard, and no issues.
Cade, you're up north like I am. Where do you store your wood? You store it outside, or do you keep it in your shop?
A bit of both, depending on our 4 seasons. So in our spring or our fall and our winter, it's quite wet, cold, and damp. So I would store my wood in a garage, in a storage unit, or in a relative's garage. During our spring and summer, where it's fairly dry and it can be fairly warm, I might leave a log outside for a few months or a couple months until I get to it. But if I leave a log outside, I normally don't leave it lying down flat on the ground, because if you do that, it will spalt on one side. But to Dane's point, if you rotate your logs, it will spalt evenly across all sides. What I do is I tend to take that log and I stand it straight up on its end grain, the exact same way it would stand as the tree grew. I would take 2 boards, either 2 scrap sticks. I'll just set my phone down so you can see what I'm doing. I would take 2 runner sticks, which would go underneath the log and keep that up off the ground.
Yes.
Because if it's on the ground for too long, or especially on concrete, it will start to rot and spalt, even if it's in dirt or on the grass as well. So I put 2 little wood runners under it, and my log sits on that.